Hello, PyOhio. I'm Pandy Knight, the Automation Panda, and today I'm going to show you how to start testing in Python in 5 minutes flat. Let's go.
To start testing, we must first pick a test framework. Test frameworks enable you to write individual test cases in code, execute them together, and report pass or fail results. For this talk, we will use PyTest, Python's most popular test framework. I love PyTest because its structure is simple and concise. For this demonstration, I'll be using Python 3.8.4 and PyTest 6.2.2. PyTest is a third-party package, so if you don't already have it, you'll need to install it with pip install pytest. The next thing to decide is where to put your test code. Typically, you want to put your test code in the same project or repository as the Python code they cover. That way, everything can be found in one place, and all code can be version controlled together. However, sometimes automated tests should be put in their own repository, like when there are end-to-end tests that cover multiple projects or entities. For this demo, I created a new Python project with a package named stuff and a module named accum. The module has a class named accumulator. It has a property named count for getting the current count value, as well as a method named add for adding to the count. Let's see how to use that accumulator class briefly. From stuff.accum import accumulator. I can quickly create one saying a equals accumulator, and now I have the object. Initially the count is 0, but I can add to it. Adding without any parameters adds 1, but I can also explicitly say add 3, and the count goes up by 3. One thing I'm not allowed to do though is set the count directly. That should cause an error. Let's write some unit tests for the accumulator class. Create a new folder named tests in your project. And inside this folder, create a new module named test_accum.py. Inside the test module, we need to add some import statements. First, we need to import PyTest to get some things from the test framework. Second, we need to import the accumulator class from the stuff package. All of our unit tests will need to create accumulator objects. Instead of copying and pasting initializer calls everywhere, we can use a PyTest fixture to code object creation one time. The fixture is just a function named accum, and it returns a new accumulator object. It also has a decorator named pytest.fixture to denote it as a fixture. Our first test case can be short and sweet. It's just a function named testAccumulatorInit. Notice how it takes in an argument named accum, which is the same name as the fixture we just created. When PyTest executes this function, it will look for a fixture named accum, and when it finds the right fixture, it will call the fixture and inject its return value into the test function here. In that way, fixtures act like setup steps. This test then verifies that the accumulator's initial count is 0. PyTest uses Python's raw assert command for assertions. There's no need for special assertion calls. We can add several other unit tests to the same module. Each should have a unique name and cover a unique behavior. Notice how each calls the accum fixture to create their own accumulator objects. Now it's time to run these tests. From the command line, run python-m pytest from the project root directory. PyTest will discover test functions and test modules using the test_ prefix. If all tests pass, then you should see green dots. Let's briefly inject a failure to see what happens when something goes wrong. Upon failure, PyTest will give you a big fat F, and it'll show you exactly where and how the failure happened. That's all I can show you in 5 minutes flat. If you want to learn more, check out Test Automation University. They have multiple courses on Python testing, including how to test web apps and APIs. Have fun with it and enjoy the rest of PyOhio.